Welcome to MIDI's Innovation Vault webinar, titled AI-Driven MedTech, Navigating the New Frontier. In this webinar, you will hear from two leading voices in MedTech innovation, including Greg Montalbano, Chief Operating Officer of MIDI Medical Product Development, and Louisa Harvey, Principal of ClariMed. MIDI's webinar will dive into the transformative impact of AI in connected medical devices and systems as they begin to define the future of healthcare. You'll hear about real-world applications, challenges, and strategies for leveraging AI and machine learning to drive innovation and improve patient outcomes. This webinar is designed to provide actionable insights for MedTech developers, healthcare executives, and industry innovators alike. With the expertise of Greg and Louisa, you're in for an engaging and informative webinar. Let's get started.
Welcome, I'm Greg Montalbano. As Monty said, the Principal and COO of MIDI Medical Product Development, and we're with Louisa Harvey, Principal and Founder of ClariMed, and we're excited to have you here for this webinar on AI in healthcare. And our goal is to give you a practical understanding of how artificial intelligence is transforming healthcare with insights to help you stay at the forefront of this rapidly changing field. So our main purpose today is to make you AI informed. As you know, AI is transforming healthcare as MedTech developers, and staying informed is essential. So our aim is to give you a solid foundation so that you can understand AI strategies and how they can play an effective role in your programs. So now let's move on to why we're here. So AI has become a core part of healthcare and not just a future concept. So today we want to make sure you gain the essential knowledge about how AI can impact healthcare, whether it's diagnostics, patient care, or medical decision-making. And next, let's talk about our goal today. So think of AI as the latest addition to the healthcare team. It's helping clinicians make more accurate decisions and improve outcomes. Our goal is to help you formulate and develop methods to have AI as a supportive element within your devices and systems, creating smarter and more impactful healthcare solutions. And of course, we want to make sure you know what you'll gain. So from today's session, so by the end, you'll have a clear understanding of AI's role in healthcare and a roadmap to see where AI is heading and how it might shape your projects in the future. And finally, let's look at our focus today, which is to help you build that AI-informed mindset. And we'll cover technical considerations of planning for AI responsibility in MedTech, and by the end, you'll have your clear understanding of how it's becoming an integral part of the medical team and what that means for the future of healthcare. Next slide. So just a quick background about myself. So again, I'm the principal and owner of MIDI Medical Product Development. Basically, my expertise in the company from a technical standpoint is in industrial design, usability, commercialization of medical devices and life science programs from concept all the way through to production. So we do all design and development and design controls, and I have a very heavy background in usability, industrial design, UI, UX, and other aspects of AI. Next slide. So just a quick thing about MIDI, so you understand what the company is and what we do. So we work with startups all the way through to OEM medical manufacturers, helping develop new product platforms around their technology, also involving AI. So we're getting involved in multiple aspects of defining the landscape pre, during, and post-use of a device, and helping do industrial design, usability, mechanical manufacturing, engineering, electrical, and software, and pulling all that together to define competitive differentiation, and then commercializing on that under design controls in our development DNA process. And the next slide.
Yeah. Hi, so I'm Louisa Harvey. I've been in the industry 20 years, working both in MedTech and in pharma. My passion is trying to find new research methodologies to help drive innovation. I developed a number of products myself, including one medical device, and also developed my own AI, which I will talk about today, which should hopefully aid in research. So I originally founded Harvey Medical 12 years ago, which got acquired into the ClariMed group at the start of 2023. Great, next slide. So a little bit about ClariMed. So you can probably tell by my accent, I'm based in the UK. We have sites also, 3 sites in the US. We have a site in the Netherlands as well, and 2 sites in the UK. But we work globally. We're one of the world-leading consultancies, particularly focusing on human factors, market insights, and quality services as well. Next slide.
All right, so to kick off our webinar, on this first slide, we're going to talk about healthcare paradigm shifts from digital all the way through AI. So past, present, and future. So the first paradigm shift being digital health. So to set the stage, we can touch base and on the first major paradigm shift in modern medicine, which is digital health. So in the 21st century, we witnessed a groundbreaking change where patients began to take on more of an active role as a member of the medical team. And this shift towards patient-centered care has refined how healthcare was delivered and perceived. And moving on to the next paradigm shift, which is AI, artificial intelligence. And we're now on the cusp of the next significant paradigm shift, one that is driven by AI and automation. And AI is poised to become the newest and the most powerful member. So it's not just a tool, it's really the 800-pound gorilla in the room, set to revolutionize everything from radiology and data analysis to medical decision-making, treatment plans, and drug development. And then future tripping, looking forward, what's the promise and potential perils of AI in healthcare? So the potential benefits of AI in healthcare are vast, and it offers the ability to enhance accuracy in diagnostics, streamline treatment plans, accelerate drug discovery, and much, much more. So however, these advantages come with significant challenges and risks, particularly as AI systems and algorithms continue to evolve and adapt. Next slide. So I want to break down the essence of AI and machine learning into core elements. So by doing that in core elements, we'll understand how they may apply to your program, to a particular device, to any particular application. It's very important to understand these core elements. So the first core element is data set. So in AI, everything starts with data. So a well-curated data set is essential because it provides the foundation that the AI system learns from. And by selecting relevant high-quality data, we can ensure that the AI system has the right information to produce meaningful results. So the next major element is a learning algorithm. The learning algorithm is the engine that drives AI's ability to learn. So it uses a set of rules to transform input data into predictions, helping the system recognize patterns. And this process is what allows AI to evolve and improve its accuracy over time. The next main element is AI prediction. So once the system has learned from the data, AI can generate its own instructions to convert inputs into accurate predictions based on outputs. And this predictive capability is at the core of AI, where it applies its knowledge to deliver insights, diagnoses, or solutions. And it's through these predictions that AI becomes a powerful tool in MedTech. So these core elements offer insight regarding how AI works in practice, specifically for machine learning. Next slide. So segueing into machine learning. So as I mentioned, AI works through machine learning. AI operates through machine learning, allowing computers to learn and improve from data without explicit programming for each task. So by providing high quality data, algorithms, and development strategies that improve over time. So for simpler tasks, basic algorithms are trained and refined, while more complex challenges like image or speech recognition use advanced techniques like neural networks and deep learning. And these sophisticated algorithms can even teach with their own rules, sometimes in ways that are not fully understood by their developers. In looking at the various aspects, I want to break down the most commonly used machine learning methods, okay? So the first one is supervised learning. So learning with a guide. So what is it? So supervised learning is like teaching with a guide. So the algorithm is trained on a labeled data set where the correct outcomes are already known. And the goal is to enable the algorithm to learn from this data and apply what it has learned to new and unseen data. So an example would be, imagine two groups of medical records. It's group A, which is complete patient histories and diagnoses. And then there's group B with similar data, but no diagnosis. By training on the model for group A, we can create an algorithm to accurately predict diagnoses for patients in group B. And this approach is effective and straightforward, like learning with a teacher. The next type is unsupervised learning. And what is that? So unsupervised learning is like learning without the teacher. So the algorithm is given a data set without labeled outcomes and must find the patterns or grouping on its own. And an example of that is, suppose we have a data set of patients with symptoms, lab results, ages, or genders, but no diagnosis. So the algorithm could group the patients with similar attributes and uncover new insights or associations between them. So this method is valuable for finding hidden patterns, like clustering tissue samples based upon gene expressions or identifying novel drug interactions. The next is reinforcement learning. So what is that? Reinforcement learning is about learning through trial and error. So the algorithm learns to make a sequence of decisions by receiving feedback only after a task is completed, and rather than at each step. So an example would be, consider training a model to simulate the spread of COVID-19 with a virtual society. And the model tests different interventions, and when certain scenarios result in fewer infections, the algorithm reinforces those strategies that led to successful outcomes. It's similar to training a dog. You reward then the desired behavior, encourage the dog to repeat it. The next is deep learning, really neural networks. And what is that? So within deep learning, this is a powerful subset of machine learning, particularly suited for complex tasks like image, video, audio processing. And it involves neural networks within multiple layers modeled after human brain structures, allowing the algorithm to learn intricate patterns and relationships. An example of that is, let's say we want to classify patients based upon their medical records. A basic machine learning model might group them all the patients by type 1 diabetes and in their records into the same category. However, deep learning model could go further, recognizing that the records mentioning T1D also belong to this group, something that would require manual input in simpler models. And deep learning are more capable, but also require more data to train efficiently. We can go to the next slide. So on this slide, I want to talk about the three major levels of AI and MedTech and what those are. So Nick Bostrom, he's a philosopher at the University of Oxford. He describes the three major levels in the development of AI in his book called Superintelligence, which is a very good read. So there's artificial narrow intelligence, there's artificial general intelligence, and then there's artificial superintelligence. So let me break down each one. So I'll call it ANI for artificial narrow intelligence. So ANI already has an incredible pattern recognizing abilities in huge data sets, which makes it perfect for solving text, voice, image-based classification, and clustering problems. It is an algorithm that can excel at precisely defined single tasks. It can play chess like nobody else, yet its IQ is at 0. So why does this matter? So most AI and MedTech today falls under ANI. And it's built to excel at very specific tasks, such as analyzing images, predicting patient outcomes, or automating routine processes. Recognizing that the current AI capabilities are narrow helps developers focus on creating devices that leverage ANI strengths, such as high accuracy in data and pattern recognition, without overestimating its abilities. And its application when developing in the MedTech device is understanding that it operates on ANI means that it's designed to perform specific well-defined tasks. For example, AI system might be highly effective at identifying early signs of cancer in radiological images, but it won't be capable of general medicine or reasoning or decision-making beyond that scope. Going on to the next, nope, not the next slide. Sorry about that, Monty. So going on to the next one, artificial general intelligence, AGI. So AGI one day could have a human being's comprehensive and total recognition capacity. This is really future tripping here. So this is at a human level AI. It can reason, it can argue, it can memorize, it can solve issues like we can. Now, why does this matter? So AGI represents a future state where AI could achieve human-like cognitive abilities, performing a wide range of tasks with flexibility and understanding. While we're not there yet, understanding AGI is important because it sets a benchmark for future innovation and helps developers set realistic expectations about what AI can currently do. Now, an application of AGI, even though it's still a theoretical concept, developers should really focus on how current ANI can complement the human expertise rather than replace it. This means designing AI-driven devices that support healthcare professionals by handling specific tasks while leaving complex decision-making to the humans. Being aware AGI's potential also encourages developers to think ahead about their systems that might involve AI and technological advances. And then we have artificial superintelligence, ASI. This is really future visibility here. So ASI theoretically could have humanity's combined cognitive capacity or even more. And again, real future tripping here. So humanity obviously would not be able to grasp its knowledge and understand its reasoning. Many organizations work hard to potentially avoid even reaching this stage. But why does this matter? So ASI, which would potentially surpass human intelligence, raises significant ethical and safety concerns. And although it remains hypothetical, understanding ASI is crucial for developers because it emphasizes the need for careful consideration of the long-term implications of AI in healthcare. And applications could be, just thinking about it, while designing MedTech devices with ANI, developers should keep in mind the potential future trajectory towards more advanced ANI, and this involves incorporating the safeguards and transparency in AI decision-making and preparing for that. So by understanding all these concepts, ANI, AGI, ASI, MedTech developers can create AI-driven devices that are both cutting-edge, safe, and ensuring they support the professionals appropriately and deliver the intended results. Go to the next slide. Okay. So on this slide, I want to talk about the 5 levels of automation in MedTech and AI. So what are these 5 levels? We're going to explore them near-term overview throughout the application. And obviously at the simplest level, level 1, is humans. There's no AI involved. And at this foundational level, all the tasks are performed by humans without any AI assistance. This includes manual procedures, data process tasks, and there's some simple algorithms that may be used, but they're not considered AI. So examples of this would be most medical procedures today fall into this category, and you think of a surgeon performing a laparoscopic procedure or a researcher conducting meta-analysis. In these scenarios, human expertise is at the forefront with virtually no AI involvement. The next level is shadow mode. So this is really where the physician is the teacher and AI is the student. So at this level, AI acts as the trainee. It's learning by observing human experts, similar to how medical students shadow physicians, and AI is in shadow mode following decision-making process of the physician without interfering. The next is the AI assistant. So here, AI begins to actively support clinical decision-making by offering suggestions. The AI system analyzes data such as chest and CT scans and highlights the potential issues for the physicians to investigate further. So an example of this is AI might scan a database of chest CT images and identify suspicious signs or bring them to the attention of the physician who will make the final judgment. Level 4, this is partial automation. So in partial automation, AI can generate its own diagnosis, okay? However, if the AI encounters uncertainty, it can seek assistance from the human physician. And this level represents a collaborative effort between AI and the healthcare professional. So there are examples of systems like this, software systems like Behold, where it's an AI system that classifies chest x-rays and identifies abnormalities and assists in ultimately making quicker diagnosis as a resource allocation. And level 5, this is full automation. So, and again, more future tripping type of, or future vision aspect of AI. So full automation is where AI operates independently without human input. So these systems can perform entire tasks, such as analyzing a mammogram or deciding on the next steps without consulting a physician. So there's speculation and reality. So when some scientists suggest that certain procedures, like ophthalmic surgeries, can be fully automated, many experts believe that achieving this level of automation safely in medical settings is a long-term challenge. And there are fears of AI replacing physicians, which looms, within the industry. But it's more likely that AI will continue to excel at specific tasks, complementing rather than replacing the human professional. Next slide. So on this slide, talking about why these 5 levels matter, okay? And understanding and developing AI across these automation levels, it's really essential for integrating the technology into healthcare effectively. Ensuring safety, compliance, and improved patient outcomes is really the goal. So strategic development is the first. So ultimately, by recognizing that there's different levels of automation, developers can strategically design AI systems that are appropriately suited for their intended use case. So this really understands and helps in creating those solutions to align with current technological capabilities while setting a foundation for future advancements. And then there's safety and reliability. So each level of automation comes with its own set of risks and benefits. Clearly defining and understanding these levels, developers can ensure that AI systems are implemented in a way that maximizes safety, reliability, particularly in the critical medical settings where patient outcomes are at stake. And then there's incremental innovation. So developing AI for different levels of automation allows for a gradual and controlled introduction of AI into healthcare. So this incremental approach helps us building trust among the healthcare professionals and patients as they see tangible benefits of AI without feeling threatened by sudden shifts towards full automation. And then there's enhanced collaboration. So understanding the spectrum of AI automation enables developers to create systems that basically enhance collaboration between AI and healthcare professionals. This ensures that AI is designed to support and augment human decision-making rather than attempting to replace it prematurely. Then looking at future-proofing. So as AI technology evolves, we understand that these 5 levels allow developers to future-proof their designs by anticipating future capabilities and potential challenges. We can create systems that are adaptable and scalable, ensuring that their relevance and effectiveness exist over time. And then optimizing resource allocation. So developing AI systems across the 5 levels allow healthcare providers to allocate resources more effectively. For example, tasks that could be fully automated can free up human resources for more complex and nuanced tasks that require human judgment levels, like levels 1 through 4. So in summary, understanding and developing for the 5 levels of automation in MedTech using AI is essential for creating, again, the safe, effective, and future-ready healthcare solutions that we're all looking for. You go to the next slide. So now that we've explored the foundational aspects of AI and MedTech, I'd like to hand over the webinar to Louisa, where she'll dive into how AI is being applied in real-world solutions and showcasing the practical ways it makes an impact in healthcare today. So Louisa, over to you.
Thank you, Greg, and thank you for a lovely introduction to AI. It fits very nicely with these practical examples that I'm going to talk about. So what's very interesting in my world of work is that 50% of the medical devices I'm now asked to evaluate now contain AI, and this was 5 years ago. So I've had to really get on top of AI, but also I can't even imagine what's going to look like next year and the year beyond. It's just increasing and increasing. And these medical devices include a mixture of locked and unlocked algorithms. In addition today, so I'll show you some of the positives of AI. I'll show you some negative things that have occurred just to make sure that you don't fall into the same pitfalls. But also I'm going to speak about how AI can help create truly differentiating device designs in research. So how you can using new AI methods in the research itself. Next slide. So these are some of the current applications in medical devices. I could have littered the slide with hundreds of different ones. A lot of the devices I work on are detecting cancers or trying to work out, say, where to place a surgical tool or something along those lines. So just a few examples. They are used to detect lung cancer from CT scans, assess ECGs, classify skin lesions, identify retinopathy from eye images, and also it's been used in surgical robotics as well. Next slide. So diabetes I always found extremely fascinating. I was asked by somebody yesterday which medtech industry is ahead of diabetes. And actually I'd struggle to answer that because diabetes has really been ahead of the game for a long time. And some of the new technologies that are out there are truly incredible. So one I just wanted to use as an example, which uses machine learning, and that's where you have a hybrid closed loop system whereby somebody's pump giving a person with diabetes insulin is also talking to their continuous glucose monitor. And this actually uses machine learning to predict patterns within that patient and also then give them better outcomes and dosing. So it's quite interesting because I know people who have just started using this particular technology and it's really difficult for them because if they've ever slipped with their diabetes dosing in the past, dosing insulin, it can be catastrophic one way or the other. And they actually have to let go of that tight control and let the machine learn over a period of, say, 10 days. So it's quite interesting how you have to let it work. Obviously, if it goes into dangerous territory, then they're allowed to intervene, but it's a way tighter area than what they would have done before. And there's huge improvements in quality of life for people living with this condition and clinical benefits such as improvements in the HbA1c readings and time spent in range, with people typically going 50 to 60% time in range, which was good, to now up to 90%. It might even be higher now. So it really is a very fascinating area how that's been incorporated. So yeah, next slide, please. Oh yeah, there we go. Then another example is the MIA systems, the mammogram intelligent assessment, which is definitely worth looking into because this has been a truly great a great technology that has entered the market, reading 80,000 mammograms in a weekend, which would have been the annual workload of 30 radiologists, with amazing sensitivity and specificity as well. And in the controlled retrospective trial using anonymized images, Maya performed better than most humans. Next slide. How does it work? And I think this is the crux of the matter here. It's exactly what Greg was talking about. It's a matter of training the AI appropriately to help it create accurate predictions. Now, that's one of the huge pitfalls that's happened in previous technology, and it's in this training. So if you think about digitized images are merely pixels, a load of pixels, and the AI is detecting patterns within those pixels. So that training data has to be absolutely appropriate. The number of images fed into that system needs to be the right amount. It needs to be from a number of different hospitals globally. So if you're planning on launching your product say in China, US, you need to make sure that it has been trained from all those different hospitals and locations. So the number is very, very important. And for me, I looked it up, and it's 3 million images were fed into that to create that particular technology. And then, as I mentioned, then the AI will look for patterns in that. Next slides. So this is a very positive example of responsible AI with reliable cancer detection, reducing recalls and anxiety, avoiding unnecessary biopsies as well. Lots of cost savings, helping mitigate the radiologist shortages too. There's been a major reduction in missed cancers, lower false positives, and increased productivity in general. Next slide. Of course, there's always challenges. They come up time and time again. So there is, difficulty with social trust because of some of the earlier technologies that came out, and it's very difficult to change people's opinion of that. And I suppose as technology is getting more and more advanced, there's more and more risk associated with that. So we have to be very responsible with the way that we are using AI. One of the major challenges is the bias in the training data sets, which I spoke about. So the reason I've got a cross on that particular slide is to remind me to talk about something that was very important that happened with one particular training of a system, AI. So in MedTech, typically those systems that contain AI are called AI as a medical device, AI AMD. And in this particular one, it cost the company a lot of money, as you could probably imagine, if there's a mistake made during the training of this particular system. And what happened here was that one particular hospital on some of the scans had, on all of the scans, sorry, from that particular hospital, had a little yellow cross in the corner, but the other hospitals didn't. So when the system was trained, it just happened that that particular hospital had a higher number of people actually being detected as having cancer. So the machine then learnt that anything with a yellow X would therefore mean that that person was more likely to have cancer. So it's that's just an example of where you've got to be so careful that everything you're feeding into it is consistent, and there isn't some sort of pattern that you were completely unaware of. Also, the challenges are training, so not just the training data set, but training of the healthcare professionals as well. This is completely new technology, and they are used to not having somebody to be able to advise and help them in that decision making. A lot of the products that I've been working on of late were the ones that Greg described earlier, which is the level 3 AI assistant. So when not really at level 4 yet, it was level 2, but I'd say it's more the AI assistant, where the software is actually telling them whether it's likely or unlikely that there's a cancer present, or there's a percentage likelihood, but it's assisting that radiologist to make that decision. So that's different. If you move to the next slide. So another example of limitations was, I was outside of the medical field, but I think it's very useful to be aware of. Bear in mind that AI has zero common sense. And I think as long as you know that helps significantly, because you wouldn't believe the amount of times people think that it has. It definitely hasn't. And this was one where we were looking, so Amazon were recruiting job applicants, and they decided to use AI to help in that process, so it could evaluate resumes. Because they happen to have a large number of males in technical roles, it learned that anything to do with women within a CV, some like women's chess club champion or anything else, it would automatically eliminate them from taking part. So I don't know how Amazon found out that it was working incorrectly. Maybe they looked around and realized there were no females present. But it's but this is a beautiful example of where it can go a little bit wrong. Next slides. And then another one was to do actually with speech detection as well, which I know Greg touched on slightly. So this is different than, it's obviously not looking at the pixels on the screen, but it's looking at auditory signals. So this particular limitation was with an auditory test for neurological diseases, so determining early stage Alzheimer's disease. And again, lacked the common sense. So unfortunately, the system had been trained with English speakers. So when non-English speakers took the test, the AI identified pauses and mispronunciations as indicators of Alzheimer's disease. But again, this is going to be very helpful as an AI tool because of the fact that that had not been trained appropriately. Next slide. So there were some examples of how AI has been used, but I also wanted to cover how AI can help us in research as well. So one particular area is data mining, past research and complaints data. I think this is a hugely powerful tool. It's something as a human factors researcher we do to a certain extent. We're asked to look at what issues have occurred with competitor devices in a known problems analysis. So you're looking at databases such as MAUD, and you're hunting through the database to find out what went wrong with another similar device so we don't make the same mistake in the device that we're aiding in the design of. So AI could massively help researching these huge reams of complaints data quickly, also saving so much time. I've had team members just staring at a screen for months on end going through all these data. So that's going to be a very powerful tool pulling that together. And also data mining past research. I mean, how many MedTech companies have run so many research studies, but have not correlated the patterns and trends between those studies? So to be able to feed in all that data, whether it be just the audio files, maybe even the video files at the same time, if you're going to do some emotions analysis, which I will talk about in a minute, but you could feed the whole lot in, and again, see if there's any patterns and trends within that. Again, to make truly innovative devices which are safer, easier, and more effective use. Next slide. So this is what I talk about the emotional analysis. I'm really interested in this at the moment, an area that I'm taking a keen interest in because I think it could add a lot to the research that we're doing. So when we're sitting in front of participants, interviewing them for human factor studies or market insight studies, we can, as a moderator, when you're speaking with them, you can detect emotions to a certain extent. I'd like to think I'm pretty good at it now. I've interviewed so many thousands of people, but maybe I'm missing something. Maybe I'm more looking at how they're handling a device or something else. How exciting would it also be to have emotions analysis working at the same time to judge their response to a particular device? I've used eye tracking with limited success, actually, so I'm quite looking forward to seeing what that could bring. And also, as discussed before, by feeding in those videos and the audio feeds, perhaps you could also analyze post the studies taking place, what the emotions were back at that time when those videos were taken. Next slide. So this is an app that I made just out of sheer frustration, if I'm honest, and it was because I felt that in research, a lot of the same participants were similar types of participants were turning up for research studies. Types of participants who are great, they always turn up on time. They're very happy to give your incentive back to you because they just want to give something back. They are so passionate and interested in the medical device field that they turn up actually just wanting to find out a little bit more. The sort of person who knows more than their healthcare professional. And I realised that it's very difficult to screen these particular people out because they're normally the first ones to respond. They don't care if you're offering $10 or $100, they'll be there. So we carefully crafted 27 questions because what I was trying to see is whether quantitatively we could detect the people who would struggle to take their medication as prescribed versus those who would take the medication as prescribed, because it's so important that we include the cohort of people who would struggle, because they are the ones who really need the innovation to be able to take their medication. So we created 27 questions, and we have validated it for the UK, albeit in a small sample size, but it's showing very positive results. It can be simply questions like, have you previously done a bungee jump, and things like that. We spent a long time analysing how we could accurately detect this, because in reality, when I interviewed people, I could get to the crux of the matter relatively quickly. They'd normally be a bit cagey about whether they took their medication as prescribed at the beginning of the interview, and by the end, I built the report to such an extent they were like, I never take it. Just don't tell my healthcare provider, please. I kind of already knew they never took it within the first 5 minutes, because there were certain characteristics that maybe you already know. So that's why I thought, well, we could probably develop some sort of algorithm. And then, of course, as we run further research studies, we can feed that in so it learns. So we can keep developing it. So next slide. Brilliant. So yeah, thank you for that. I will pass it across to Greg.
Yeah, thank you, Louisa. So to close out, I'll give an overview of how AI and machine learning advancements are actively shaping MedTech. So from enhancing our diagnostics and streamlining regulatory process, AI really is making a real impact on our healthcare. And I'll give you some real world examples of AI-driven tools, improving patient outcomes, accelerating research, transforming medical challenges. So this is just the beginning. So AI's role in MedTech will continue to drive innovations and refine healthcare. So the first is AI-enhanced diagnostics. So a major development in AI is its ability to improve diagnostic accuracy. So AI algorithms can analyze medical images, as I mentioned, like X-rays, MRIs, with precision, detecting patterns, abnormalities, often what's missed by the human eye. And this leads to earlier and more accurate diagnosis, improving patient outcomes, easing the workload on healthcare professionals. The next is accelerating R&D, really what we do for a living. So AI is transforming R&D by rapidly analyzing large data sets, from genetics to clinical trials to identifying breakthroughs. And this helps speed up the development of drugs, treatments, and medical devices, bringing life-saving innovations to patients faster. The next is improving patient outcomes. So really that's the whole reason we're here. That's the reason we're in this profession. So AI is its greatest impact in MedTech really lies in enhancing those patient outcomes. And by integrating AI into treatment plans, providers can deliver more personalized and effective care. And AI analyzes medical history, can analyze current conditions, genetic profiles to recommend optimal treatments, and then ultimately boosting patient satisfaction and a better outcome for the people that we serve. And then looking ahead, these examples are just the start of AI's impact in MedTech. And as it evolves, we can expect more groundbreaking developments within advanced diagnostics, streamlining regulations, new treatment modalities. And AI is really set to play an increasing central role in the shaping of our medicine. So thank you all for joining us and taking time to explore transformation role of AI in healthcare. And we hope you found these insights valuable and gained clear vision to where MedTech is headed. So now we're going to open up the floor, take a look at some of the questions that you guys have popped into the Q&A. And we're here to dive deeper on any topics addressed in these questions. If we don't get to your questions, our email addresses are here in the last slide. Reach out to me and Louisa directly with any questions you have. So I'm looking at one question. It says, you mentioned different levels of AI automation in healthcare. What are the main benefits of advancing AI to higher levels in automation? And that's a good question. So to answer your question, I'll take that one. Advancing to higher levels of AI and automation can really provide benefits. For one, AI systems become more autonomous, and they can take on repetitive tasks, like freeing up healthcare professionals and allowing them to focus on more complex, as I mentioned, patient-centric activities and modalities. So this can lead to faster diagnostics and diagnoses, more efficient use of resources. And at levels like partial or full AI automation, we can provide decision support by analyzing vast amounts of data that would be time consuming. So ultimately, we're looking to move forward incrementally, ensure safety, ensure reliability, building patient trust with healthcare providers as well as the patients along the way. So the next question is, with so much emphasis on AI healthcare, what are some of the ethical considerations developers need to keep in mind when designing AI-driven MedTech? And that's a good question as well. Louisa, I think with your experience, this specific topic would be really, you can add insight here. Would you mind taking this one?
Yeah, absolutely. And it's something that I've given a lot of thought into because I get asked that all the time, especially when I'm presenting on analyzing videos retrospectively, where people haven't given permission for that to happen at that point. So obviously retrospective permission can be gained if it's within a certain time frame. But the main thing is to make sure, particularly in research, if you're planning on using any of the data later, just making sure the consent forms now cover later use to be able to reanalyze it. And I think most of all, just making sure everything is anonymized. It would be anyway. The training data, for instance, must be anonymized throughout. So I think in general, just always think there mustn't be anything identifiable that I'm going to be using on this, or therefore it will have certain ethical considerations. So yeah, hopefully that answers your question.
Yeah. The next question is, how can MedTech companies future-proof their AI devices given the rapid pace of AI advancements? And I could take a crack at this one. So that's another good question. So to future-proof AI devices, developers should design systems with adaptability in mind. So this meaning creating modular software and algorithms that can be updated or expanded as AI technology advances. So incorporating flexible data sources and designing systems that can learn from new data will also help keep AI devices relevant that are in the marketplace. So additionally, following established standards and staying engaged with regulatory bodies will ensure that the devices meet future coming compliance requirements. And finally, thinking about maintaining an ethical and transparent design approach that'll help devices stay aligned with evolving societal expectations as well as, again, regulatory standards. So that's let me take a look if there's some more questions here. So
there's quite a few on regulatory I see there. So we're not going to cover regulatory today, but what I would say is there's a large number of questions with how many devices are approved, et cetera, et cetera. I looked this up recently, and the FDA have a lovely publication of exactly how many devices they've approved with AI. So you can actually get a really good understanding, but it's changing all the time. So I would definitely have a look at that again.
It's a much deeper conversation, and we appreciate everybody's time here today. You have our contact info. Feel free to reach out to us directly with any questions you have or any topics you'd like to discuss. We're always happy to do one-on-one sessions with team or Zooms with anyone, any participant within this webinar. So again, I want to thank everybody for their time, and I appreciate everybody listening to our thought process.
Thank you for taking the time to join us today. We hope this session gave you valuable insights into the transformative role of AI in healthcare and how MedTech developers can stay ahead in this rapidly evolving field. We appreciate your engagement and the great questions you brought to the table. Thank you again, and we look forward to seeing the incredible innovations you'll bring to the MedTech and healthcare markets.